Or
We can wait a few minutes.
let's wait a couple minutes.
Okay. You can open your swag if you want. Did I give you one, Jonathan?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
There, it's got a Land Bank logo on it.
this one is sort of worn, as you can see.
Yeah, you need a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you guys are masculine enough to pull off this color.
You thought you weren't compensated for being a board member.
It's a little too bright to be neutral, I think.
Well, the color was on sale.
Now that makes sense. Now, of course, that would make sense to me.
What are you saving money at?
What's it?
What are you neutral?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Exactly. I know, that's why. Maybe.
If we're asking questions of Lindsay, you guys may just really need to project because she's only going to hear you through the mic on the laptop.
Okay.
And I put her agenda item first, so she won't have to hang for too long. And I've also asked Commissioner Collins to come today to answer any questions you may have about the city's perspective on that agenda item. But we're ready whenever you are to call the meeting to order.
Okay, I'd like to call order the Greater Syracuse Property Development Corporation's annual meeting, directors.
I'm sorry, that's a typo. It's
the
a regular
wrong.
meeting.
Okay, it's a regular meeting. We don't start off well. At 8 o'clock, I see we have 4 members of the board here. So we have a quorum, roll call, proof of notice has been posted, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and minutes of 1/20/26, has everybody had a chance to, which was our annual meeting, I think, has a chance to review?
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of 1/20/26. So moves. I got Oceana, I got Jonathan. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Executive summary and financial statements.
The draft statements to the end of December are in here. Now, we haven't gone through our year-end process yet where we write down some of the capitalized expenses. So you will see these change a little bit by the time we get to our final audited numbers.
Okay. Any questions, Caitlin, regarding the executive summary and financial statements? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Someone, Jonathan, second. Second, Oceana. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? New business, Maria Regina Chapel.
So we're joined by Lindsay Allen from Home Leasing. They're based in Rochester, and they are going to be redeveloping the Maria Regina campus, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, at the corner of Grant and Court. Phase 1 includes a bunch of new construction and what do I have here? About 186 units of affordable housing. Lindsay, I'm going to have you explain the peculiarities of this because I couldn't really articulate. Why do you have to split off half of the property?
Yep.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, good morning. So we are the developer for the Maria Regina Gardens project. It's Home Leasing. We are partnering with Penrose, another affordable housing developer who is based out of New York, their office out of New York City. And so we've been working on this project for, as you know, several years. It is large, it is complex, and made so even more so complicated by the fire at Mother House last year, this past almost a year ago, next month. And so we have been working hard to reach this final close, get the financing in order, start our construction. And as we were reimagining the Maria Regina project after the loss of the Mother House, we went through a couple cycles of what do we do with this large space? There is a gap in this campus now. Right at present, it's a pile of debris where the Mother House once stood. That will be cleaned up as part of the phase 1 project, but we're still left with a large parcel and a chapel that cannot really be adapted for residential use. We are a residential affordable housing developer, and we don't have a real use for a large vacant chapel. So we've worked for the last few years to find an interested party that could take on this chapel for a new use. We were working with a local congregation for a while who had been trying to pull the capital together to create their own congregation, to reuse this as a chapel as it was built. The burden was too large for them to handle, and so we were back at square one. What do we do with this chapel? What do we do with the chapel and a vacant parcel next to it? And with some creative planning between Penrose and Home Leasing, we thought that this would be an opportunity for a second phase to the Maria Regina project. I'll make one edit to Caitlin's description. Phase one is now 156 units. It was 182 when we had the mother house. Those units dropped out. You're now down to 156. And so this opportunity to have a phased project with a second building is going to add another maybe approximately 60 apartments to this campus, to this neighborhood. And what we are imagining is a new building where the mother house existed, and then the chapel would be reused as the community room, leasing office, support service space that we didn't have use for in the first phase. In our first phase, we have 2 gymnasiums and 2 auditoriums already, and our finance partners don't like this. They don't want to finance an excess of extra space, and so we would be reusing this chapel for that second phase. Now, the reason we asked the land bank to get involved in owning the parcel during this period of time is that we do have, we do have a building that needs help here. The chapel has been vacant as long as the rest of the properties have been vacant. And as a for-profit developer, we do not have access to a lot of financing that can help us stabilize a building before we start construction. As a nonprofit land bank, we can help apply for certain financing programs, grants, loans from the state preservation offices, the consolidated funding application through ESD. There's opportunities to secure some funding that can help stabilize the building while we develop the second phase. And so getting the land bank involved, getting the city involved in this transaction, it benefits the project during the next 4 years or so while we pull the financing together, make sure that the building doesn't suffer any additional damage beyond what's existing, and then reduces some of the carrying costs that we would otherwise need to figure out how to finance while we were, while we were developing this project. Things like the taxes on the property, and we would be able to negotiate through a land, a purchase and sale agreement. Like, how are we going to help carry the costs of this carry the burden for the land bank during these next few years? And so we were asking for the land bank to help us, to partner with us during this phase 2 process.
Lindsay,
I kind of lay it out generally.
I thought, in addition to the land bank just being able to save you some carrying costs and access certain grant funds, I thought either HCR or your tax credit investor was requiring that you not own this piece during phase 1.
It's not a requirement. What helps us is that we are seeking historic tax credits on the first phase of the Maria Regina Gardens. And the chapel is considered to be a contributing resource. It's a functionally related complex. So by protecting the chapel in an entity unrelated to us, but protecting it nonetheless from some other entity, some other unrelated entity, doing whatever the heck they want to do with it, demolishing it, replacing the roof with something that's incongruous with the campus, partnering with you guys protects the chapel and most importantly, at this point in time, protects all of the historic tax credits that are going to be leveraged on the rest of the campus.
Gotcha.
It's an unrelated entity, but the campus together is functionally related. And your involvement helps protect that chapel from a nefarious use, if you will, that could jeopardize the entire historic tax credits on the rest of phase one.
Gotcha. So are you contemplating then that home leasing would help us with applying for grants over the coming years?
Yes.
Okay, so there'd be some technical assistance there.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And I've outlined in the contract here, or in the agenda packet here, some of the contract terms that you and I discussed last week, Lindsay, about kind of renewing annually and kind of reevaluating at that point how much we've put into it over the prior year, making sure that we have enough deposit on file to draw on.
Yep.
So the land bank should not be coming out of pocket for any of our property maintenance expenses if we do this kind of annual reevaluation of how much we've put into it. And we're saying a one-year contract with the option to renew up 4 more times, up to a total of 5 years. Does that seem?
Yeah, and this is part that I didn't get a chance to connect with our legal team about how the purchase and sale agreement would legally be structured. So Caitlin and I discussed a couple of alternatives. It's an annual renewal that gets readjusted based on the carrying costs. It could be a single 5-year contract where we are covering carrying costs and the purchase sale is $1, but the terms of the agreement require us to help with this carrying costs. There's a couple ways for us to structure this thing. Our intent is that, through the pre-development process and our budgeting, we would be carrying those costs so that you're being reimbursed or covered for those, not necessarily reimbursed, but one of those ways that the cost would be covered by the pre-development of this phase, the second phase of this project.
And I didn't realize that the mother house debris hasn't been cleaned up yet, so we would obviously want to add that in as a term that you're required to finish that within a certain period of time. It's to be at your expense, and that you and your contractors will name us as additionally insured.
Yes, and there's our environmental consultant is also looking at that specifically as well in order to make sure that both projects where we are going to dispose of that material, and we need to bring clean material into that site. And there's a couple ways that happens. And our environmental consultants are figuring out how that agreement is going to take place as well between 2 separate entities or 2 separate parcels. Moving soil from one to another just has to be documented the right way. So absolutely, that'll be explicitly defined within this PSA as well.
You mentioned how many units were going to be in phase 2, and I didn't jot that down. Can you?
We're going after 9% 9% low-income housing tax credits, and those projects tend to be somewhere between 55 and 70 units, so approximately 60 units, give or take.
Thank you.
Give or take 5 or so. It'll depend a little bit on just the design of the building and the financing that's available, but that tends to be the sweet spot.
Gotcha. Are there any utilities turned on in the chapel right now?
No.
Would it be possible to turn on electricity if we wanted to put a security system in there?
That's a great question. Let me find that out for you.
Okay, because oftentimes I'm told, not unless you rewire the whole building.
Yeah, I think that they probably terminated that back in 2014. So
Okay.
I'm not sure what the condition of the meter is, if it still exists.
Okay.
But
We could do a temporary.
Let me find that out for you.
Do with a shop spot.
Okay.
They set a meter
Okay.
on certain circuit. What kind of stabilization does this building require?
I'm not sure if you can hear Lindsay. He's asking what kind of stabilization does the building need?
Right now, I think, that's a good question. We have the windows boarded up. I do not know that there's any active, I don't know that there's any active leaking, for example, through the roof. But there would be a, conditions assessment to make sure that any kind of hole is patched, or tarped, to make sure that any damage that could be done is mitigated before it happens. It's been like I think maybe a year and a half or so since our contractor has last been in the chapel specifically to take a look at what it takes to renovate it. We were looking at it for the congregation that we were partnering with. What's the cost to get it to a usable state, not necessarily what is the work that needs to get done just to stabilize it. But let me connect with them to see where, what that entails. I think it's really going to be a matter of, patching some holes, keeping the windows and doors boarded, as well.
And this was built in the 1950s, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said the chapel was built in the 1950s. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Not as ancient as some of our problem churches.
There does not appear, every time I've been in there doesn't appear to be any major structural issues. I don't see any large cracking exhibited across the chapel. The walls look to be intact. So I think it's just making sure that it doesn't get worse.
Gotcha. Our primary objective is to keep the water out.
Yes.
Okay. And right now, the whole campus is owned by home leasing already, or you guys have not closed on it?
We have not closed on it yet. No, the current owner for the last 10 years or so, it remains the owner. Our intent for the subdivision is that, so he has agreed to subdividing the property prior to us closing on construction financing, and that would be in June. And so the intent is that the property gets officially subdivided in advance. And then at construction finance close, there are two transactions. One that goes to the project specific entity that's controlled by Home Leasing and Penrose. And then the phase 2 parcel would be conveyed directly to the land bank at the same time. So it avoids extra transfer fees and reporting fees if it's going through an extra entity. So we're hoping that this simplifies it a little bit.
Okay. So if you're not closing until June, then we have a little bit of time to work out some of these terms. Our next board meeting is going to be March 17th, I think. Does that sound right?
It's a good day.
It is a good day.
Yeah. So maybe we could arrange a walkthrough of the chapel sometime this week or next week. Would that be?
Yeah, I would probably suggest next week after some of the snow.
That's a good idea.
When I drove by the other day, I know it's thawing now, but there was a solid it seemed like a 2-foot snowbank surrounding the property. So yes, I think when if we can arrange that next week would probably be best. We can take a look at the weather and try and pick a date.
So would that seem doable to you if we continue to kind of hammer out some of these terms over the
Absolutely.
next month? Okay, I wasn't sure how urgent this was.
No, we've got a little bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah, right now the subdivision application and the site plan revision that accommodates the subdivision is presently with the city under review, I think, with the planning or the engineering department. And so that process has begun to get that revised, I think maybe for the third time because this project has changed a couple times. And so that process is underway. And that gives us time to negotiate a purchase and sale agreement to make sure that we're all on board with what we're asking here.
Commissioner Collins, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, just come over this way so I'm not standing.
Actually, like, anytime.
Yeah, sure.
That camera's broadcasting the meeting.
Oh, all right. My bad. This is certainly one of the more creative things to come before the board in a long time from what I can recall. And I typically, the city's really reserved before we get behind a project. Home Leasing has done, and Lindsay had mentioned that they've been doing this, working this project for years. What she hasn't talked about is the community engagement. around it. So this is a project that, under Mayor Walsh and certainly it's continued under Mayor Owens, there was, from the city, the request that if the city's going to be behind the project, we need to see your engagement with the community. They've done that extensively, and they have been continuous with it. So showing up at every community meeting that they're asked to, doing presentations on it, and what we've seen is the community has come out and asked that. In fact, there was a petition for us to support the project. So that's why I'm here right now, because we do believe that this is the absolute best use for this campus that is possible in the next several years. So considering the amount of community engagement they've done, the amount of community support behind it, and the trust that Home Leasing has built, they also, you're probably familiar with the St. Anthony's project, Midland and Carlton. That's their first entry into the Syracuse market. The Mother House was a massive loss. This likely would have got to the closing table probably end of last year, if not earlier, if it wasn't for the loss of the Mother House. Financially, the Mother House, losing the Mother House does actually make it perhaps a little bit easier to do the project. All but for the fact that, as Lindsay said, the chapel itself is it's not conducive to turning it into units, and that's what New York State will finance. Is the New York State finance project for the most part. So that's why a creative solution needs to be found. They've been really responsive to us when it comes to the fact that current owners is not proactive and often not reactive when it comes to maintaining the property. Home Leasing stepped in a number of times on it. And so that's built the trust where I believe it's worth the board having serious consideration of this project because, neighbors are asking for us to do something there. And this is something that they've all agreed that they want. So happy to answer any questions from the city's perspective on it.
Thank you.
I'm just unsure a little bit about the financing. The financing for the first phase is through
HCR. This would be 4%.
4%, so it's the automatic one.
Yeah, it's by right, and we've been very clear with New York State that this is really one of our top projects outside of East Adams. East Adams is rolling along. We've got Syracuse Development Center closed, and right now we're really looking at this one and redoing Parkside Commons, and those two projects are both something that New York State's supporting right now.
And then the second part of it would be the 9%.
Second part would be 9%. Those do typically you don't get the 9% on that first round, and 9% applications come around one time a year. So that's why this 5-year window is wise to be looking at.
And when they get up, this would be like a shelter tax deal, the first.
So 9% are almost always shelter tax deals.
I mean, I'm talking about the first phase, the 4%.
This one is also a shelter tax deal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes. So when we're talking about is the tax abatement on the property, there are times where projects might be better off with the Industrial Development Agency, and pilot there, or the pilot through the city, which is referred to as shelter rent agreement, and these would both be shelter rent.
I mean, for 15 years, this has been a real problem on the north side.
It really has.
Trying to come up with that. I appreciate Home Leasing considering the land bank, and we're all going to work together on this thing. I think it's a good idea.
In our, Caitlin and I have had a few meetings with Lindsay and her team. The number one thing overall for us is that the land bank is made whole through this process. We can't have you guys in a position where risk is one thing, but where you're going in and you're saying, hey, we're going to take a massive hit. You guys just aren't in the financial position to do that. And that's not what the city wanted to ask. And so that's why we had asked Lindsay and team and Penrose to come back with a creative way to cover the carrying costs through this. And I'm not the one to evaluate, you all are, on how comfortable we are with it, but it is a much more sophisticated approach than we've seen in tax deals or redevelopment deals in a very long time.
Well, in essence, land banks, but one of the few entities that could take this on like that. So.
I don't know that this project, it certainly probably doesn't get done this year without you. I don't know that it gets done without you. Can't say that for certain, obviously, but you guys are a critical piece to the success of the overall project. And I don't mean that as pressure. I just, you know, this is what the land bank creates as far as opportunity goes.
We're indispensable.
You are absolutely indispensable. This is, the chair speaks well.
Any questions?
Oh.
Board?
Yeah, you spoke to the community engagement piece.
Yeah.
What did that look like?
So I've been to several public meetings that are the community meetings that, whether it's the spin-off TNT groups or the neighborhood watch groups. You know, Councilor Nave's got a great one. And I believe you were at one of Councilor Nave's meetings over. Yeah. Okay. So there's been a lot of that. Basically, anytime somebody comes to us from the neighborhood and says, we want an update on this, we reach out to Home Leasing, and Home Leasing gets right with them. It was, I'm really bad with estimating time once it gets past for a few days, so I'm going to say it was maybe a year ago. That actually it would have been before that, it was before the fire, that there was actually a petition that the community, that the neighbors organized in support of the project. That doesn't mean that every single person loves it. I will say, in my time doing this work, I've never seen this much support for a project.
There were meetings at
And if
McChesney.
I could add, you know, we attended a lot of regular occurring meetings when folks wanted to add us to the agenda. We also held a couple specific project-specific meetings through the town hall type discussions to explain what we were doing as well, provide an update. And that petition was really important. And I think it was twofold. It was, hey, we really support your project. We believe that this is value added to our neighborhood. And I think also it was, you're our only hope to do something with this campus. So just please do something with this campus and we will support anything that you want to do. And so it's been a long journey with this neighborhood, and it has been difficult for me to return time and again and say, hey, we're so close, but we have to push. Hey, we're so close, but we need a little bit more time. We need a little bit more time. And I fear that we are just about out of time if we can't get this done this June. And so I'm eager to hold my word this time with the neighborhood and make sure that we can wrap this one up.
Mo, there was hundreds of people at that, a couple of days in McChesney meeting and said that. I mean, with the mayor and everybody else. So it's been talked about for a long time.
Anybody have any other questions about this project?
I have a couple of questions. I can't imagine you can hear me.
I can, yes.
Oh, wow. No one can ever hear me. A bit of an unfair question, I think, that I should have known the answer to before the meeting, but I didn't have time. Since you haven't closed yet, I believe a member of the Conjo family owns the property.
Yes.
Do you happen would you happen to know who his attorneys are on the transaction?
Not off the top of my head, no.
That's fine. I suspect it might be my law firm, so I'm just looking to disclose a
Conflict,
potential conflict board here. I think it's my firm. I just didn't have a chance to confirm. So I just want to.
I'll follow up with Caitlin. I can dig into some email to find that out.
You know, I can find it out in a matter of minutes. I just didn't have a chance to
Okay.
get through it.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. I just want the board to be aware of it. I was hoping you'd closed already and we wouldn't have to worry about it. But
Sorry.
I want you to think that my firm is encouraging you to do something to, assist the sale. I just want you to be aware of that. And then my only other question for the land bank would be whether this is a 5-year deal or 5 1-year deals. What happens when things don't go well?
That was going to be another question. I don't know that we have the answer to that, but
Right, it's something we need to.
yeah, we should contemplate that in the purchase and sale agreement. If we do 4 renewals and here we are at the end of year 5 and you're not ready to close yet, then what?
Then what? Or after year 2, they're unable to reimburse you your carrying costs or whatever.
Yeah.
We need to exit.
Yeah.
On the timeframe, I'm hoping that this goes faster than what we've experienced so far, because at this point, the property will be in friendly hands as opposed to the process that we've been stuck in right so far.
I would hope so, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys have already got the mother house has only been down for a year, so I'm sure you're probably still working on your plans for the new construction and everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, probably,
And it'll be a little bit of time. I think my stranger things have happened. People, we put an application in and it does get funded on the first time. It is unusual, but it's not atypical. And so, we can work diligently over the next year to pull that application together so tightly and get all of our financing and our support and our design and our approvals together. There is a fighting chance that we do get awarded. This would be an application in the summer of 27. Awards come out in the spring of 28, and we're off and running into construction, January of 2029 or something like that. A 3-year term would be incredible. I don't want to promise that because, like I said, it's not typical, or it's not often that happens so quickly. But 1 year to reapply, and then the same sort of cycle happens. We feel pretty hopeful about that.
this is just my
But
own.
yes, to your point, that is one of the things that Caitlin and I and the team and our councils can figure out. How do we, what do we do in the event that this falls apart?
Just my own curiosity, are you applying for historic tax credits on phase 2 as well?
Yeah, we would apply for the tax credits on the chapel.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
A lot of lawyer work that needs to happen.
yeah, there's still, some things to be ironed out, but
Yeah.
anybody have any other questions of things they want us to be working on and researching over the next month?
Thank you guys walking through and have been comfortable when they get a handle on what may be going on. It's gonna be huge, so we know what we may be dealing with.
Okay. So Lindsay, you and I will get in touch about scheduling a day for a walkthrough.
That sounds great.
So there's nothing really to vote on.
No, you can table this item for today.
Okay, we'll table this.
Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate
Thanks,
you
Lindsay.
joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Okay. Just give me a comment.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you for letting me use your computer.
Okay, B is authorized sales of multiple properties.
Only 2 this month. Let's see here. 106 Kaminsky. Nadante Jones has purchased properties from us before and done some beautiful high-quality flips. In this case, he would be purchasing it jointly with LaShonda Renee Sullivan, who has been a longtime tenant of his. And their goal is for her to own or occupy this house. So we're excited about that.
Okay,
310 Putnam is a non-conforming vacant lot, only 33 feet wide. We offered it to both neighbors, and only the landlord at 312 was interested in buying it, so we are proposing selling it to them. The ownership has to match the vacant lot and the property next door that they already own, so it will be selling it to Legacy Irrevocable Asset Management Trust.
any questions? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to authorize sale of multiple properties. Someone, Oceana, second. Second, Mo, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Amend 2026, 2029 budget under C.
I'm sorry that Michael Flair couldn't be here today, but I did discuss this with him in advance. He's our treasurer. There are 2 lines that we're proposing to revise. The first is on page 31 of your packet. You'll see it highlighted in yellow there, the salary line. We did a budget amendment in October of 25. We generally do it every October when we're adopting the budget for the 4 coming years that we have to submit to the ABO by the end of October. We also kind of true up our current year budget so that we can try to reduce the volume of budget to actual variances. And so we reduced the salary line down to 549 back in October, and I didn't realize that triggered a cascading series of formulas across all the future years that I had not intended to reduce. So if you were to put 2025 back where it was at 641, and then we do 3% increases annually, that would have resulted in these 4 years that you see here from 26 to 29. And I'm asking you guys to put that back where it was, because we need a little bit of buffer room to do annual raises, which we typically do in January. And Terry Luckett is retiring May 1st. And I want to have a little bit of overlap with our new person coming in. We'd like to hire Jamila Damiani, who you've all met before, to come in and be our full-time renovation coach on staff as opposed to just as a contractor. And a lot of what Terry does is tracking enforcement mortgages that are in default. And so rather than having one person in charge of kind of sending out the naughty list and invoices for people that are overdue, we kind of want to combine that function with the renovation coach. So we're informing you that you're behind schedule and you're in default, but we have some assistance available, and make it a kind of a friendlier experience. So we're going to be merging those two things together. We also want Jamila to be helping with pipeline of cross-mod buyers. Daniel and I have realized with this first one that many of these are first-time buyers, and they're going to require a lot of hand-holding just to get them to the closing, get them through the mortgage process. And this woman had a real estate agent, but that still wasn't really being done. So I think that Jamila can provide a lot of that assistance. And then we are doing a lot of our own stabilizations. And since she's project managing for our buyers, I'd like her to take over some of the project management for ourselves in-house, putting projects out to bid, getting contracts signed, that sort of thing, on the stabilization side, to kind of free up some of the admin work that I've been doing. And then we're taking Terry's other tasks and kind of reallocating them amongst our other staff. Where is Shannon? She's in the back. Shannon has been learning how to do the re-subdivisions. She'll be learning how to do all the environmental reviews and utility kills for our demolitions. And I want to give her, a pay bump with those added responsibilities. So we're kind of just shuffling a lot of tasks and salaries around.
Okay.
And then the other line is on the next page, highlighted in yellow. Just wanting to increase our marketing budget for events and marketing throughout the year. I think that what we did with Black Cub was really successful. And we'd like to do more of that sort of thing.
Excellent. Any questions? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to amend the 2026-2029 budget. So much, Jonathan. Second? Second, Oceana. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? D, procure demolition of 318 Shore.
We very rarely do a non-competitive demolition procurement, but the city has hired Chris Foley to work on the house next door to this.
Yes.
And ours also needs to come down, and they really need to get through ours in order to get to the house next door because of a topography issue. And so they've offered us a really good price of $18,250 for this demolition. And I'd like to ask you guys to authorize us to contract with Chris Foley for this demolition. We'll use LBI funds.
Okay. Okay, I'll ask for a motion to procure demolition of 318 Short, if there's no questions. Oceana, second. Second, Jonathan, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? E, acquire certain properties from the city of Syracuse.
There is just one property here, and it's one that Councilor Nave has requested the city expedite the foreclosure on. It's a single-family home. It is 532 Court Street.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Okay. I'll ask for a motion to acquire certain properties from the city of Syracuse. Oceana, second. Second, Jonathan, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And F is stabilization 506 Wolf and 115 Maurice.
These were both occupied at the time of foreclosure, and we would like to use LBI funds for property stabilization and then sell the homes to the occupants that were living there at the time of foreclosure. We put a kind of suite of things out to bid on each house. 506 is going to require additional work, but we're just starting with the exterior. So that'll be a new roof, siding, rebuilding the porches, new windows and doors, and installing a high-efficiency furnace and a high-efficiency water heater. When we redo the roof, we want to get rid of the chimney, and the current furnace is vented through the chimney. So that'll be the start there at 506 Wolf, and then we'll have additional interior work that we'll come to you with. And then 115 Maurice needs a new roof, windows and doors, siding, and also a furnace and water heater. And that'll be it for 115 Maurice. But this will not be out of pocket for the land bank. It'll be funded with land bank initiative grant funds.
Any questions? Okay, I'll ask for a motion, stabilization 506 Wolf and 115 Maurice. Motion on second?
Second.
Second, Mo, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Discussion, pace of horse closures.
Just want to keep you updated on where we're at. You can see on page 9 of your packet how many we've gotten per month since January of 25. It's been kind of hit or miss. December was looking good. January and February have been rather light. We have a batch of about 20 or 30 properties that'll be coming to us at the very beginning of March. So I really want to keep pushing the city to get to at least an average of 20 a month. Although I did the math the other day when I was walking the dog, and that's going to take us like 25 years to catch up with the backlog of seasonable properties.
Was the
So-
dog holding your tablet? when you were doing that,
Yeah. So we may need to get beyond 20 a month, but at least that's a good next milestone to hit. So we need to keep the pressure up on that.
Who do you deal with anyways, Caitlin? Do you deal with the law department directly, the mayor's office?
Now I'm dealing with the mayor's office
Okay,
with
good.
Stephanie now that she's back.
Oh, good, that's right, yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah.
So, okay, good.
Um,
And next is move in New York application.
Yeah, I should say we have not officially received an award yet, but it looks like we will be receiving an award for all 52 sites. We're working with HCR now to outline a lot of the details on what we want exactly on each site. They put out an RFP to manufacturers and have 2 manufacturers lined up for this project, Clayton and Champion. We used Champion for 139 Maxwell. I'd really like to get all 52 done in a 1-year period if we can. So I think we're going to need to split it equally between the 2 manufacturers to get that done, which will be a nice way for HCR to kind of compare and contrast their job performance also. And maybe I can encourage them to race each other, so that'll keep the speed up a little bit. I've outlined for you here some of the tweaks that we're planning to make to the designs. They won't all be ADA accessible, but I want them all to be very easy for someone to convert in the future if they needed to. So we're looking to widen some of the interior doors. Some of these sites have slight slopes to them, so we are working on those details right now. We gave them a pretty easy site for the pilot, and it costs about $275,000 in hard costs to get that done. When you add in all the soft costs, we're at about $300,000. And I think HCR would really like to keep all of them around that level. And I said, well, if these are all being done so cost effectively, could we maybe throw in a few more expensive, difficult ones on slopes, and it would all average out still relatively low unit cost. So I'm hoping I can convince them to do that. I don't know if any of you guys have any questions about this program, but I just wanted to keep it on your radar.
I was looking at the plans that you had sent out, and I noticed that one of them still has a door on the side, but there was room, it looked like, because of how the layout worked from the inside, to maybe move that to the back. I know
Yeah, so the
we had
Magnolia,
conversations around, like,
the door back right, or okay, so this door, do you remember if it was in the dining room or in the laundry room?
it was dining room.
Okay, that one, the door is going to move around the corner. And it's because that side door cost me an extra 4 feet because I have to put the landing outside,
Right.
and I'm trying to fit these on narrower lots. So that's why that door is moving to the back, and it should go out onto a deck. And then the Eminence model, I think, has a side door out of the laundry room. If I have a lot that's at least 48 feet wide, that works, but anything under 48, we're going to have to make that door a window. But it has a front and a back door, so it's fine. So those are the kind of tweaks we're working on right
I didn't
now.
know how flexible the builders were on these things, so that's why I was-
Pretty flexible. Things like that don't really cost them much to change. Things where I'm requesting upgrades of nicer materials, that we're kind of negotiating. We used vinyl sheet goods in most of 139 Maxwell and then carpet in the bedrooms. And what I would really like to see is LVT throughout the whole home, the luxury vinyl tile. Because with vinyl sheet goods, they only come so wide. You can't avoid having a seam down the middle of the house, and then it makes it feel like a manufactured home. And so if I can do LVT, there's no seam. And we want that in the bedrooms too. So if somebody does have mobility issues and they're in a walker or a wheelchair, they can roll more easily. There's a lot of folks that argue for air quality. It creates a healthier home to have no wall-to-wall carpet. So we're kind of working on those things. I also asked them, we're going to earn a 6% developer's fee on the total development cost, so 6% of about $300,000. I also asked them, could we sacrifice a little bit of our developer's fee if we had to, because they're kind of nickel and diming me over the $5,000 upgrade in the flooring. So I think we might be able to have a little wiggle room there too. We have started going around, even though we're not officially awarded yet, we've started cutting down trees on these sites because of the long-eared bat population. We can really only cut down trees between November 1st and March 31st. So we're going through and doing any major tree removal as fast as we can before the end of March.
You don't want to
You
see
may-
those Indiana bats, I'll tell you that much.
You may see on some of our sites felled trees just sitting there because we are hustling to get to all of these 52 sites. We're hustling to get to all of them by the end of March. We can go back and chop those trees up and haul them away after March 31st, but the actual felling has to happen beforehand. So you may get some complaints from people about big trees sitting around for a few weeks, but that's what's going on.
I think maybe Black Cub, maybe document some of this stuff, because this would be a great
Yeah,
story. Something like that. So,
Time lapse video.
yeah.
I mean, not on the tree cutting, I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
the whole process of
project.
doing this, you know?
It won't be in 3-bedroom, it'll be more family friendly too, because that's a lot of complaint that I get, everything that's going on. None of it is family friendly,
Okay.
and what is family friendly is not cost affordable for families.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's something I should pick your brain about too. So we can serve buyers anywhere from 60% to 120% of AMI with this program. Now, I think they're hoping that if we do a broad mix like that, then some of these will need less subsidy and they can kind of cross-subsidize each other. But we're already getting a lot of AHOP housing that's serving 80 to 100. I'm inclined to say we ought to go more towards the lower end and serve like 60 to 80 with these houses. And they're spread out all over the city, so it's not like we're going to have a dense concentration of very low-income home buyers. But I don't know what, it's hard to say because every income bracket, there's an immense amount of need. So whatever we build, it's going to be meeting someone's
Yeah.
demand.
Right
But
now, the need definitely outweighs what any of us are putting out.
yeah,
Sure.
It's just that we are displacing families. I was in Albany this weekend for caucus with Mo. I did not realize that we're busing kids from Portland back to Syracuse for school. Yes. So families are seriously being displaced, and as we're bringing units back online, even if they were vacant units before, they're
Yeah.
not in a place for these families to come back. But yeah, we've run out of hotels here to house families because our family homelessness rate has increased so much that our children are now in Portland, and under the McKinley-Venta Act, we have to bus them back to their home schools. So our school buses for students are heading down to Portland every day to bring kids into school.
do you think 60% would solve any of those problems? Or maybe these families aren't even in a position to buy right now?
They probably aren't, because, well, a lot of it is they've been priced out of their rental units.
Yeah,
So it's a matter of, can we make this affordable? And in the city, I mean, I know they have the program, but that's gonna have to be more robust in hand-holding these families
yeah,
to get them ready to purchase.
yeah,
But the biggest issue is they're priced out of their rental units. These are families that go to work every day,
yeah.
but can't afford rent.
So Daniel and I have been talking about doing some targeted outreach with the Housing Authority because they're going to be displacing so many people with all their construction projects coming up to try to get a pipeline of people that have vouchers. You can use your voucher for a mortgage instead of rent to do as many homeowner conversions as we can. But I think maybe we ought to be doing some outreach to the school district as well. If there's a way that we can get hooked up with those families and make sure that we're getting them into homebuyer education classes, because
Yeah.
their mortgage payments would definitely be less than rent.
Because I think,
Sure.
Mo, that number was 1,500 students right now. We have 1,500 students in the district without permanent housing.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's,
Some of the neighborhoods around some of these neighborhood schools too, they're not particular. I imagine we're going to have some of those lots as far as some
Mhm.
for this particular program. So I agree with Oceana. I think this would be, yeah, 60% would be,
Yeah, I think we're going to get creative. We're going to get creative with helping families
okay.
figure out how they get qualified, taking them through. Because right now they're just so beaten down, they don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. If they do see a light, they think it's an oncoming train because it's just been so much.
The other idea we've been kicking around is that I think a lot of seniors will be interested in these homes because of them being single story. And if there are seniors out there that meet the income requirements but maybe already own their home, I want to figure out a way that we could facilitate this sale, but also try to discourage them from selling their existing home to a landlord.
Right.
See if we could get home headquarters to revamp that home and turn it into an opportunity for a larger family.
Yes.
Mhm.
So Karen Schroeder and I have been talking about that, maybe going to some of the churches and doing outreach that way to potential senior buyers.
Yeah.
And then if they've got the sale of their home, they're gonna have a bigger down payment than most of our first-time home buyers do.
Yeah, because these flippers, they're insulting. The postcards that we get to
Yeah.
like sell our home now are,
Messages.
yeah,
Yeah.
text me, how'd you get my phone number? Phone
Are they
calls.
offering you a number or are they just a
They
price?
offer, some do, they offer a really insulting.
Yeah.
Insulting number, because they look at, like, for instance, I bought my house from the land bank, so they look at what the
Sales price was.
Sales price was, and I'm like, the amount of work I put in this.
Right.
house? No, absolutely not. But
Yeah.
yeah, so there's gotta be a way that we could work this out.
Yeah.
So we could name like the AMI on some of this?
Yeah, we get to decide what income bands we're serving. We have to argue our case to HCR to convince them that that's where the most need is. But the block by block program is serving people at the 60% AMI level. And Home Headquarters is doing 13 of those on Merriman. Redev is doing 10 on Ostrander, and Habitat is doing 7 on Brighton and Forest. But so we're talking, what, 30 homes? That's
Sure.
still, there's a lot more need than that.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, and then we drive through the neighborhood and we see a lot of vacant rentals. So like the one across the street from me has now been vacant since I bought my home.
Wow.
There's
That's
no
insane.
tenants in it at all, but we have attempted to buy it from him at this point, because we're like, we could put 2 of our kids in there and the house can go back into use and get back
Right.
into tax rolls. He just holds it.
Well, okay, so it's sounding like we probably should focus on the lower income bands.
60%, I think. I just think Maxwell Avenue, for instance, is so close to Van Dyne School. A lot of those neighborhoods are around the schools have smaller lots, and where I'll probably end up with.
Yeah, so those working families that are
Yeah.
making just enough to not
That's what
qualify
they
for
were.
any services, but
Yeah.
not, that they're still living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
That's,
The woman that's buying Maxwell, we're closing today, and she's already asking where we're going to be building more because her mom wants one.
Oh, I like that stuff.
Yeah, and we are going to be building quite a few right in the blocks around Maxwell, so maybe her mom can be right around the corner.
right.
We are still working with Jubilee on our plan for the near west side. We're hoping to do 25 AHOP homes and 10 with block by block. It's been a bit of a challenge getting those numbers to work, but what we're looking at now is also applying for AHC funds. So we would have $200,000 of subsidy from AHOP and another 75 from AHC, which may be enough to make the numbers work. We've also teamed up with Redev. They're doing those 10 houses on Ostrander, and they're using our floor plans and buying the manufactured modular homes from Simplex. And so we sat down a few weeks ago and said, could we combine our buying power and get a better unit price, doing 45 homes instead of the 10 that they're ordering? And I think that there's an opportunity there for us to get these numbers to work.
Speaking of Jubilee, how's that apartment complex that's supposed to happen on the South Ave going? Because that was what somebody asked.
Across from the grocery store?
Yes.
Gosh, they put in an application, and it's February now. Have they announced who was awarded in the last round of LIHTCs that were due back in September? I haven't heard anything. So we're waiting, I think, still to hear if they've been awarded, but they did apply for 9% tax credits back in September.
So that's what we're still waiting.
Yeah. I'll double check on that when I get back to the office and see. I don't think they've announced anybody.
What about our other project down there in the near west side?
Delaware Street?
Yes.
I'm really not sure. That project is looking a little hopeless. I did reach out to the architects because I really liked the plans.
Right.
And apparently, I wasn't sure, does the developer own those or does the architect? And they said any other developer could contract with HKK for those plans. So we could potentially get somebody else to do that. I need to do a little bit of follow-up on that too.
And we got that church.
Yeah.
Over there is a girls' practice chair over at the school, so it's pretty barren.
Where, Delaware?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Delaware, so it's pretty barren all the way around, no matter which
Well,
direction you
Well, we've done a lot of
that
clearance,
property, yeah. You know, I mean, that was They were like 0 for 3, I think, as far as before.
I'm not sure how many times they've actually applied,
Well,
but yeah,
they,
they're,
yeah, I mean, as far as initiative, I don't know if they actually got across the goal line, but I know at least once again.
yeah, it's frustrating.
We probably should have
Check
some
in
sort of,
with them.
well, I think we should probably make a decision on that.
Yeah, I
because-
agree. And then lastly, oh, no, there's 2 more here. West Brighton, we did demolish 6 homes right across the street from Duncan Bright, although I drove by the other day and there is still 1 more left to go. It's warmer now, so I'm hoping that that'll help. That was our response for quite a while from the demo contractors. When it's consistently like 20 or below,
When it's
Yeah.
below
They
freezing,
can't.
it's-
Well, they're using water, so
Yeah.
it doesn't make any
Conditions,
sense
that's
to
water.
be out there with a water hose. and
Exactly.
conditions.
so I'm hoping now that it's warmer, they'll finish that last house on the south side of the street, and then we own the one right across the street on the corner. That'll be coming down as well. That will be replaced with a single-family home just because it's a small lot. There's nothing else we can fit there. But on the south side of the street, we have 300 feet of frontage, and we had a nice meeting at Beecham Library a couple weeks ago. Got a lot of participants. We had representatives there from the Islamic Center and the Masonic Lodge on that block and the community center across the street. So we got some feedback on what they think would fit in there.
A little issue with the community center across the street. She's not very active.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like they have a lot of hours. They're all volunteers.
They're never there.
Never there,
As a
okay.
matter of fact, there needs to be more community involvement. I would suggest another meeting just because that one conflicted with the state of the
Oh,
city.
yeah, we're gonna
A lot
do
of folks
more.
missed it. Sergeant Malinowski should probably be invited to the next meeting. 'Cause
Okay.
He's been working with us on a lot of the issues that center around that community
That's
center.
good to know.
The folks at the Masonic, they come in, they do their thing, they drive away to their homes.
Yeah, they want a parking lot. That's not gonna happen.
No way,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
It's residentially zoned. I told them we can't.
Yeah,
Just not an
so, somehow we need to involve more of the residents, whether
Yeah.
they're renting or they're owning, but right now, those particular folks are not invested in the neighborhood, they're invested in their particular buildings.
Yeah. Almost all the participants we got were seniors, and I do want to find a way to reach younger families and maybe
I would
even,
say even invite the youth of the area. because
Yeah.
They will tell you what they want, what they need, and right now they don't have a lot of outlets.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how much we're going to be able to offer on this site because it is residentially zoned. It's not like we can do anything really creative in terms of like a rec center
Well,
or,
we already have the community center.
yeah.
There, Sergeant Malinowski actually has a couple of interested parties who can do more than what's happening now with the community center.
Okay,
Some actual big names that.
that could be
offer
good.
Things for the youth. So that would only require, they would probably need a little more space on the back end to put some fields or courts for the kids to play, but after that,
Mhm.
you could definitely,
Now, I understand she has a lease with the city for that space. And I don't know what the
That's
process
being
is
reviewed.
for, okay,
it's being reviewed.
okay.
Yeah. Because that also comes with a lot of responsibility that she is not capable of doing. Sidewalks have not been shoveled all season down there, only the lot plow that's not used. The upkeep of the playground is unfairly put on her because that's a city playground and this.
Yeah, that's
Parks and
crazy.
Rec should be keeping it up.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen, that's put on her. So some of it is unfair to her and then some of it, which she should be doing, she's just not.
Yeah.
And the building is never open, it's not for community use, so.
Okay, good to know. But yeah, we have definitely more engagement and outreach to do.
Yeah, I would say a lot of those younger families, some who are not in a position to own,
Mhm.
would like decent rental property.
Yeah, a lot of the feedback we got from people at the meeting was that they preferred to see owner occupancy, but I know there is an immense need for affordable rentals. This site is zoned R5, and almost all of the land that we get from the city is zoned for 1 or 2 family homes. So it's kind of unusual that we have an opportunity to do multifamily, and I feel like it would be kind of a waste just to do single family there.
Yeah, it's a very busy street, it's still a major thoroughfare going to the university, or to the college, to the hospital. Then you have that corner on Salina, it's all industrial.
Mhm.
I don't see a lot of owner occupants signing up to be on that
Yeah,
busy street.
and we do have lots right there on Webster and Cannon where we can do owner occupied to kind of balance it out.
Yeah, and that would be great on that side. I mean, heck, there's still that huge lot on my street that's sitting there with
Right.
nothing on it. So there is places to put that in, but definitely there has to be some friendly rentals in that area. Like I said, the median income is 30,000 or less
Okay.
for working
Yeah.
families. They may not necessarily be in a position to buy, but that doesn't mean, and their options are few. Valentine Gardens, Vincent's not up and running, Knob Hill's going through its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no place for them to.
I don't know if you guys got to see in here towards the back, what we shared at the meeting was just kind of some examples of what we could fit there. So starting on page 40, we showed that we could fit like 6 of these single-family homes or 10 units of these 2-family homes. I think we could fit probably 12 row houses if we did them clustered like that. And then if we were to do larger apartment buildings, we could potentially fit, 45 units on the site. So,
And they will say they do like the units that went in Midland and Colvin and down in that area. So a lot of the community likes that. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback of seeing those come in and those being rentals.
Yeah.
But obviously not enough.
yeah, I mean, we could fit 10 units there that way.
Yeah.
Do you think that if somebody's looking at a 2-family house like that versus a 3 or 4-story apartment buildings with hallways, like these all have doors that open to the exterior versus that kind of interior circulation, is there a preference one way or the other?
I think sometimes, just because of how the media has been, they tend to think of those buildings as an attraction for crime and that type of thing, whereas the doors that open right out to the outside, it's more, fits into the landscape of being more like a home, even though it's a rental. You can see what's going on around that area. There's usually plenty of lighting.
Okay. All right, so yeah, we've got a lot more to do there. And then I just wanted to make you aware, we purchased that bar on South State Street, right near Brotherly Love Church of God in Christ, across from the AOT Tower, near State and Burt.
Yep.
And we will eventually be knocking that bar down, but I want to wait and do that demolition, wait until we know what's going to go there so that I can put a sign up saying, here's what's coming soon. But we've been having some really good conversations with Blueprint 15 about them wanting to do row houses there. They're really looking for opportunities for owner occupancy in that footprint since there's going to be so many rentals built by SHA. They want to try to balance that out.
Yeah, I think that would help also start bringing that back to a more walkable community.
Exactly, yeah.
Getting rid of that element that you've had with the bar, with Hub's Liquor and stuff for so long. Could bring some life back into that area.
Yeah, so we think we've got a lot of opportunity there. We could maybe fit 16 row houses if they wanted to do that way. There's like that big, maybe 4-story building owned by Dunbar on one side, or not Dunbar, what's the, some sort of treatment facility. Helio, thank you. Maybe 4 stories on one side and then the big tower on the other side. You can't just step it down to like single family homes. So we need to do something a little denser. But there's not a lot of depth there either. So I don't think we could fit a big.
We just have to remember the name Helio makes folks nervous.
Yeah, that's a good point.
After the skyline.
Yeah.
They own 13 houses in the city of Syracuse, all tax exempt. There are 13 buildings.
They-
Those.
They're tax.
Tax
They're
exempt,
tax
they're
exempt.
not profit.
But
Well-
we just,
And what the impact they have on the surrounding neighborhoods, you just have to look at the north side.
yeah.
Well, all of that to say, I just wanted to make sure that you guys know there's a lot of good projects in the works for new construction, and wanted to make sure that you're aware of everything that's in the pipeline in case people ask you about it.
It's a large agenda.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so any other questions? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn then. So moved, Oceana. Okay, we're all adjourned.
Thank you. Okay.
Stephanie's going to have quite a list.
That's fine. Yeah, she does that.